After 20 years at Liverpool Football Club, I'll be leaving at the end of the season. I think the decision for me is personal. To change environment, to challenge myself elsewhere. It's not about wanting to find something better. It's about me and my personal journey as a player. And
I actually kind of believe him. But there's no loyalty in football, boys. And I said this in the video before last, before I got pulled in and thought he was coming back after being emotional after some of these goals that he's been scoring and the performances that he's been putting on the last handful of games and being super critical for us. But there's no loyalty in football. There's no loyalty for him to the club, and there's no loyalty to the club for the club to him, right? Which is unfortunately just how the game that we play. It's a don't hate the player, hate the game that we play, and he has to play this game, right? And I believe him to a degree that this is more of a personal choice than a footballing matter. That he wants to see the world and he wants to do something different with his career. He has been with the club for 20 years, pretty much his entire life. He wants to try something else. And in this video, I just want to kind of break it down and kind of get like the mindset behind this whole thing and why it actually does make sense. Does it feel dirty? Does it feel grimy? Absolutely. But it actually is probably the best decision for all parties involved. And I want to get kind of go after that a little bit here, right? But all the rat and the lizard talks and stuff like that, that stuff's getting out of hand. You guys are being immature, and maybe your new fans who wasn't around during Fernando Torres, who wasn't around during Luis Suarez, and let's go the polar opposite and flip it on its head. Maybe you weren't around when we sold Steven Gerrard, right? When we took our biggest icon and our biggest legend and we sent him to America because we thought he wasn't good enough. And he makes a really good point in this video I'm about to show you guys, is that if Trent is to fall off a cliff next season, there will be 1,001 of you standing outside of the FSG offices asking for him to be sold, like there has been in the past. So don't ask for loyalty when you aren't even loyal as a fan to this player. Don't ask for a player to give their all and sacrifice for the club when you kind of aren't really reciprocating that energy, is what I'm trying to say. And I think we need to be less emotional about these things, and we need to more love the club than love the players that play for the club, because at the end of the day, this is their job. This is what they do for a living. And if they didn't get paid for it, they wouldn't be doing it. Right? So that's just kind of my mindset around it. But don't act like we aren't in a similar situation with someone who's already at the club, but on the other side of the coin. And I said this in my previous Trent video, is that you don't think Trent's looking at VVD? You don't think Trent's looking at Salah before they got contracts, of course, if they were even going to get contracts, if maybe they were strong-armed, kind of into sending these contracts to these older players because Trent decided not to sign. You don't think he's looking at Steven Gerrard? You don't think he's looking at some of these moments? You don't think he's looking at Andrew Robertson, who is actively being replaced in our team, who does not want to leave the club and has been open about not wanting to leave the club? But now the backroom staff is actively looking at Milos Kerkez, Ryan Ait-Nouri, a lot of these players to actively replace him. You don't think that hurts a little bit more? Robbo's not a hometown boy. He didn't grow up in Liverpool. Okay, fine. But he's been at the club almost as long as Trent's been a first team starter. There's still no loyalty there. And he's been outward and said that he wants to stay at this club. So that's why I'm like, us calling Trent a rat and saying all these weird things about him when we don't know him, right? We don't know his personal life and his own actual personality is a little weird to me. And I think it's attention seeking. So you're going to get rage baited a lot online today about Trent and potentially turning against Trent. I would advise you not to do that. And he actually talks about it. I was going to show the video, but I'll actually link it so you can give him some views because he's a fantastic Liverpool content creator. He talks about Jordan Ibe, who came through our system as well, very young age, and was supposed to be the next left wing prodigy. And he went out, came back from loan, and they said, I think it's best that you actually move on from the club. We signed Sadio Mane. We weren't upset about that. Of course, Jordan Ive isn't on the same level as Trent in terms of talent and ability. He was getting close. I think he had a lot of potential, similar to Raheem Sterling. Similar thing, right? A lot of these players that came through our academy. But when push comes to shove, like what Haas says in this video, football is a business at the end of the day. But let's talk about Steven Gerrard. Our GOAT at Liverpool was also moved on because we felt he wasn't good enough. So the loyalty that Steven Gerrard shows to Liverpool, I commend it, and I think it's very brave. And I think he's probably one of the best representations of loyalty at a football club. I think maybe it's actually a little undeserved that he's so loyal to us. When we shipped him off to LA when he didn't want to, when he turned down Real Madrid multiple times, when he turned down Chelsea multiple times, when it was time for us to upgrade and he fell off a cliff a little bit, or he was deemed not good enough for this first team, we let him go. So let's not have double standards in this whole thing. Do I want Trent to stay? Absolutely. Am I disappointed? Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Trent here. I'm more so just being a level-headed individual and looking at the situation as a whole instead of jumping to conclusions and saying really weird shit about people I don't know. Okay? That's all I'm saying, right? Football fans are very selfish, and football is a grimy business. There's really no fairy tale ending when it comes to football, and we need to stop acting like it is. It really does sound like he's trying to go do something else. And who are we to say, no, you can't go do something else with your personal life and your career? We're nothing. We're nobody to Trent. So let's stop acting like that. And let's stop acting like it's the end of the freaking world. Let's talk about what happens to this Liverpool football team positively now that Trenton's going to be leaving the squad, and maybe what happens for Trent positively now he's leaving the Liverpool squad. So this might be a little bit of a different take that you're probably going to get today. That's why the channel's called Unconformed. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you can get more takes like this. Trent could be going sooner rather than later, and we all know that. We all know that that potentially could be a thing, so that he can go to the Club World Cup, I think, or the Super Cup or whatever cup that they're playing in a month or so. And I'm honestly not mad at it, right? Year in, year out, we talk about over and over and over about Trent's defending, whether he makes this team better or if he makes this team worse. And I think the debate now gets to be over. The debate now gets to be over. You can stop having the argument with your mate at the pub of whether or not Trent is irreplaceable in the squad or if Trent is a detriment to this side because he doesn't want to go and defend. We don't have to have that conversation next year. That's positive number one. This move actually makes sense for all parties involved. There wasn't a fee, but we've had him in our club for 20 years. He's brought us a Champions League. He's brought us 2 Premier Leagues. We've made money from having him on our team. He sold millions and millions and millions of jerseys every single year. Don't act like we got nothing out of this whole deal. We did. Do you want $100 million or do you want 2 Premier League titles and a Champions League because of Trent Alexander-Arnold? And don't say that he wasn't pivotal in all 3 of those titles. He was. Which one would you rather take? Do you want the money or do you want the title? I'll take the title. He can go for free. I don't give a fuck. I don't care anymore, right? Liverpool get to balance their squad much better, right? In a way that we probably haven't seen in probably 7 years. Connor Bradley is a star on the rise. Expect him to take that next step. We could go shopping for a bright young center back, 17, 18-year-old center back, or right back, excuse me. Or maybe we make a big move. I really like Arnau Martinez, who is a right back who can deputize in the center back role. We might go for 2 birds, 1 stone type of thing. Put Hato on that left-hand side, who also does the same thing. Left back, center back combo. I think those 2 knock out 4 positions at one time if you go after those. We could also do a Frimpong situation. I don't want to hear anything about Frimpong isn't a defender. He's not a right back. We just be getting Trent again. Then why are you mad at that Trent is leaving? If he's going to be Trent again, you should be happy that Trent is leaving. You shouldn't be upset. We're losing Trent for nothing. Oh, man, Trent's going. If that's the case, you should be happy with Frimpong because we get a more dynamic version of Trent Alexander-Arnold if we go get Frimpong. Okay. So don't bring up the whole, Frimpong's the worst. Stop it. Frimpong's a winner. Stop it. It's an option. It's a big move. And it's a statement of intent. The options open up is what I'm trying to say. As for Trent, this move, believe it or not, makes a whole ton of sense for me. It makes a whole ton of sense for me. I think the Xabi Alonso influence is there. He's in a similar position. Left Liverpool for Madrid, huge passing range, massive talent. We wanted him, we felt a little bit betrayed from Xavi and stuff like that. A lot of internal stuff came out about his move and things like that, where it was a little bit unceremonious in how he did things and things like that. I think the influence is there. I think he feels like he's going to make the next step and have a career like Xabi Alonso eventually. And I think Xabi coming in and playing in that 3-4-2 formation that he's most likely going to switch this Madrid side into, which I think actually fits the personnel that they have in the team right now, could be absolutely box office for Trent when he moves there as a right wing back or a right winger almost in that 3-4-2 one. He will have complete freedom to just be almost like the creative fulcrum for Xabi Alonso's side. You see what Frimpong does in that system where he racks up the goals and assists. Now it makes sense why he said he wants to win a Ballon d'Or. Could he do it? He has a bunch of guys that's on his own team in front of him. But if he is extremely important to this to this Madrid side and what they do, and is able to rack up 20 assists, bang in 10 goals, you never know what ends up happening. So that dream, I think, is alive. And despite how unceremonious it was and how sloppy it was, I think it's a bright future for everybody involved. You're going to get rage baited all week. I promise you will, if you already haven't, but don't fall for it. This move isn't the end of the world for anyone involved, especially not Liverpool FC. Remember, no one player is bigger than the club, not even Liverpool. I mean, not even Trent Alexander-Arnold, not Steven Gerrard. We get better anytime a big player leaves us. Remember that. Don't forget, we got a generational talent waiting in the wings in Connor Bradley. I'll leave you with this little video, guys. Get excited. Huge summer ahead.
Boom! And he comes back to us and starts the preseason. And he's excellent.
Connor, super special boy.
If Trent gets injured, I can see Connor.